Hi everybody, Matt and Paul here from Fiduciary Wealth and another video today, and we will be talking about currency exchange in Gibraltar from UK expats relocating here. So obviously the good news is, Gibraltar shares the pounds with the UK, but a lot of you may have assets in euros. You may be kind of selling. So for those relocating to Gibraltar, Paul, what do they need to know and what are their options when it comes to currency exchange?
Well, very good point, Matt, and the fact that you mentioned that there's no currency exchange between the UK and Gibraltar is absolutely right. The British pound is the currency. However, a lot of UK expats may have properties somewhere in the EU or elsewhere in the US. They may have other assets and other income streams that they receive in non-sterling currencies. So the advice we're providing here is not for someone who's looking to go on holiday and exchange £500, but certainly if someone has a large transaction to make, then they should look at currency brokers. They are much better than banks are in terms of pricing. I'll give you some concrete examples. If you go to a bank and let's say you're buying a property in Spain, 500,000 or whatever, the actual markup in the exchange rate could be anywhere between 3 and 5. 5 is a bit extreme for a larger amount, but 3% is not unusual. And if you go to a currency broker with a large transaction, then you can probably negotiate down to something which is much more competitive, somewhere in the order of 1%. Possibly for super large transactions, you can negotiate down further down, possibly as low as 0.5%. In terms of transfer fees, banks will charge you a fee based on the value of the transaction, and currency brokers, money brokers will the transfer will either be free or will entail a very low transaction fee. And then in terms of speed, the banks are much slower. It can take 3 to 5 days, whereas currency brokers could potentially do same day transfer with a caveat that the value will be 2 days spot from today, so 2 working days from today. And yeah, banks, nowadays, Matt, as you know, in the old days, you had a relationship manager in the bank, someone you could talk to on the phone, and they would give you a personalized individual service. Nowadays, it's basic support. You get on the phone and one day it's one person, the other day it's another. So there's no rapport. Whereas with with currency brokers, you're dealing with dedicated and professional forex advisors that can really advise you on the timing of any transaction. So it does make a difference. And of course, currency brokers can also do spot rates and forward contracts. Say if you are buying a property sometime in the next 6 to 12 months, you could fix the rate now for delivery in 6 to 12 months. You could potentially also place limit orders. So if a currency reaches a certain level, you buy or you sell, and the banks perhaps require larger transaction sizes to be able to offer that service. So yeah, I think there's a lot of sense in using a currency broker as opposed to a high street bank, if I'm honest. And my background when I started in private banking was running a forex desk with and running the forex book, and I know that there is a massive difference in pricing, more so nowadays than it was then. And certainly you don't have the personal service that banks used to provide then to individuals. So, yeah, again, not for the small transaction. I'm going on holiday to Greece. I need to change euros. Um, Makes very little sense in using a currency broker for that purpose. But for larger transactions, I would strongly recommend that you speak to a currency broker, and we can help with that.
Yeah.
Because we have associated professional connections that can deliver the added value and an improved price.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of got there before me, Paul, but I was going to say, both of us previously in banking, and the message here is don't use the banks. So, I don't think they can question, our bias on that. And it's right about not only using a broker, but for me, using the right broker. I think I've probably told this story on one of our webinars before, but I had a client and we only found about this afterwards and they went to the broker and they, in my view, gave them a very poor deal. And I think it's because that particular client wasn't particularly financially savvy and I don't want to say they took advantage of them, but I think, certain brokers may do that, whereas we do have contacts with people who will trust, who won't do that and can look after you. So I think that's the message for today. There's a huge saving that could be made, in fairness, and we're more than happy to help you with that. So yeah, Paul, thank you for that one. A quick one today. But for those watching, keep watching. We'll have more videos for those relocating to Gibraltar. So stay on the YouTube channel and watch, and make sure you subscribe for future videos. But for now, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay.